Greetings and salutations, race fans, sports lovers, and others from a pretty dank Joburg. Hola, senor.
Hola, everybody. How are we all doing out there?
Well,
I hope you guys are all well and keeping up to date with what's been going on.
questions, comments, and queries, stick them in the bottom of the thing there, and we'll our production department will bring them to us, and we'll hopefully be able to answer it. Gary,
Yes, sir.
you broke
I'm
the
here.
weather.
I broke the weather.
It's like
I told you not
freezing.
to. I told you not to leave it lying around with me. I break things.
And welcome. Great to be back in our studio.
Yes, yes.
It's always nice. It's always nice to be back in home base. You know, where we know where everything is and how things are sorted out. It's a bit chills in Joburg today.
It is. It is.
But not as chilly as it in Barcelona, senor.
Yeah, poor boys in Barcelona getting snowed in.
And it started raining. So
Yeah.
when Pirelli wanted to test the rain tires, they got to wet the track, and then finally some guys started going out today. And if you've been looking for testing times from Formula One, it is a testing time. And yesterday, of course, the red car was quickest. And today, we don't know who's quickest because basically it's snowing and raining and really, really not so lacquer. But so, Gary, back at Dirty Sweat. Oh, by the way,
Yes.
how do you like this? This
Production give that to you.
production gave this
Script
to me.
department.
Let me tell you,
What, do they have lunch on it?
I don't know what they did, but the writing, we're going to have another meeting with the department afterwards. We're going to sort these oaks out.
We're
But
having more department meetings than what we did in shows.
it's unbelievable. I mean, if the guys can they just need to get their acts together. So, Gary,
Yes.
another episode of Dirty Sweat.
Yes. And the guys in Mauritius are online. Hi there, Lee. Nice
How's
to see
this?
you, Squire. And thanks for all your support.
Oh,
Yes.
we got to say happy birthday
Two.
to the greatest legend of living legends,
Yes.
Mario Andretti.
This is his birthday
Mario,
today.
happy anniversary, happy birthday, happy...
Anniversary, birthday.
It's the anniversary of his birth, Gary.
Okay, whatever you say.
Thank you. So, this episode of Dirty Sweat, we're going to just have a bit of a chat about what happened
Yeah.
and what's going to happen.
It's been an exciting time.
It's been flippin' awesome.
Yeah,
We
this-
had that huge outside broadcast production in Pekisa.
You did?
And, well, yeah, apparently.
Okay.
And we've got some motorbikes, we've got some cars, Formula One. Kevin Harvick,
Yeah.
Happy Harvick won NASCAR. The Fords, huge surprise because everybody thought that the Toyotas were going to be quick, and then Chevy came with a new car, and Happy Harvick drilled them. Road Atlanta, very, very rough surface, so tires came into it a lot, and then driving the car on very, very slippery used tires, it was absolutely awesome. Love NASCAR. It's not the easiest thing in the world, I'm led to believe. Chatted to Van about a little bit of his experience on NASCAR this
Van?
weekend. Van, the old man.
You're
But we'll-
talking about the Silver Fox.
This, geez,
The
he
one
really
and
is a
only.
bit silver. So that was down at Velcom.
Yeah.
You were playing with motorbikes?
I was playing with some technology.
Yeah.
And
Exciting things coming.
yeah,
Watch this
exciting
space.
things coming. And I think, you know something, I think F1 heard about what I was doing and they went and just beat me to it and developed apps and all that sort of stuff. So now anybody that hates television will be able to watch on their mobile device.
No,
All sorts of things.
not yet.
Hey, I said they just
It's
beat
coming.
me.
It's
Yeah,
coming.
It's coming.
Because they've developed this new over-the-top OTT app.
Yeah.
But mainly in sort of Northern Europe. There are a whole lot of things with legacy broadcast agreements and what to try and get all of that sorted out. But essentially, a really, really nice app, interactive, where you can go and choose any of the drivers' in-car cameras that you want to watch, and there's a whole lot of timing. It's finally Liberty Media are starting to...
They've been copying our thoughts.
Gary,
I promise you, there's
Should we
somebody
get-
inside is leaking information out.
should we get our legal department to contact their legal department?
Yeah,
and
let's
sort
go
it
for
out?
it. Let's just get this thing done and call it and done with.
So the Formula One can't wait for this season. You know, I think the cars, in my mind, are, what do they call it? Engineered madness?
Yeah.
Something like that. They are hugely complex, complicated. I just love them. I think they sound pretty lacquer. I'm not a on jumping on the bandwagon of negative stuff. We've banished negative. In fact, production, the senior executive producer, had some words with us about negative stuff. We don't do negative vibes again.
How come I wasn't in that meeting?
Well, you were called in after me.
Oh.
And there were a whole lot of things that you know about that I don't know, but like the technology.
Yes.
Like
yes.
the motorbikes,
yes.
like the... We tried... Let's go and talk about what happened. Where were you this weekend?
All right, just so that you all know what we're talking about. This weekend was the start of the National South African Championship in both endurance racing for cars, which incorporated the first time ever GT3, original Pucker GT3, Pucker GT4, and GT5. We'll explain GT5 to you. All right, and as well as the endurance series.
Yep.
And
that was in Pakisa, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, South Africa. And for those of you that watched that, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for your comments.
Yep.
It was pretty cool to see some of the questions, and we fired our cameraman. And I believe there's some whole new technology coming, but we'll...
No,
we'll
we're not letting cats out the bag because everyone kids are stealing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know.
And then you were playing with two wheels.
Yeah, I went out and I visited the start of the South African Superbike National Championship and hung around the pits, did a couple of interviews with some very exciting young kids. And those boys are quick. Ooh, they are so fast.
But they are absolute nutters when you see the way they back that thing in sideways. And
yeah,
I love it. And Suzuki were doing pretty well there.
Yeah, Suzuki had a pretty good run. First time out for Adolf Boshoff on the new 600. Suzuki,
Yeah.
He went and won his race.
Yep.
Young William Fend ended up coming in fourth. That's his so-called teammate.
Yep.
And young Lacey with a lady down there, Cassidy, first time on the Super 600.
Yeah.
Gave it all. Unfortunately, in race 2, bit of issues happened. A lot of oil was dropped on the circuit, and they had to
Oil and bikes doesn't work, eh?
No. And they unfortunately had to can the rest of the day. So the day was cut short because of the oil on the circuit.
Hey, Gary,
Yeah.
more party time.
Yeah, and in the same team, there's these guys that ride this new Super 300.
It's
class.
like a 300.
300 classes. I mean, they had KTM's, Kawasaki's, all these different cars, and these kids actually gave us some
Bikes,
fantastic.
Gary. Not cars, bikes. Focus, Gary.
Right.
I spend one weekend away from you, and you like lose the plot. You said cars, they're bikes.
Sorry.
But that GP300 class is looking...
Promising. Looking very promising.
Yeah.
Just for those of you who know that we do have a couple of South Africans going to ride on the international circuit. We have a young guy called Dorian Lorero.
I'm glad you said that and not me.
So Dorian...
By now you've worked out that Gary's the king of two wheels, and he just lets production send me to the four-wheel stuff.
But besides all of that, okay, internationally, what are our boys up to? Okay, so overseas at the moment, we got Calvin van der Linde, we got Sheldon van der Linde.
Yep.
And we got Julian van der Vat.
Yeah.
All right.
Stewie White was overseas, but he's back. We'll talk a little bit about that.
That's
He
right.
won the 6 hour in an unbelievably cool sports car. It is a sports car. So just let's quickly...
You want to get that off
I
your
just
chest?
want to get that off my
Boom.
chest.
Yeah.
So a sports car is a car that has wheels and mudguards
Mudguards.
and bodywork that
Bodywork.
covers the wheels and tires.
Yeah, it's a sports
So
car.
some clever guys, they take a Formula Renault 3.5 litre,
Very quick thing, mate.
awesome sounding car, and they put some mudguards on it. And
Lights.
Indicators,
Yes.
brake lights.
Yes. It's got to be fully roadworthy.
Yeah, well, and they go and race it as a sports car. So it's super quick, but there are a couple of issues with it, which we'll get to in terms of it's designed for sprint races, not for endurance races. So Stu White came back and drove that. You know what? I forgot.
He was teamed up with Nick Adcock. No, it wasn't Nick Adcock. He was teamed up with Craig Jarvis and Stephen Young.
He was.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that, and that thing is quick. It sounds magnificent, and then he's going back to, I think, to Europe, but we'll get more of that. Julian van der Vat has started the road. What do they call it? The road to Indy.
That's
that
right.
Mazda in America sponsors. So that you
Correct.
basically start off in their equivalent of like a Sports 2000. I mean, a Formula Ford 2000 car. and then go into Indy Lights. And if you keep winning, they put them in a scholarship program.
That's right.
They pay bucket loads of money, and you end up driving Indy cars. America, I rate the way that there's so many opportunities there, and guys can actually make reasonably quick drivers can make some good money, and make careers out of racing cars. Then we've got our Van der Linde twins, boys, Van der Linde squared. Kelvin is not going back to Australia.
No, because of the thing. Calvin actually made a post, and the post and the news came out of there purely because of his commitment to Blancpain and GT4, the GT Masters and that sort of stuff.
25 race weekends so every second weekend he's racing.
That's right. Audi won't allow him to go and race anywhere else. He's got to run those 2 championships and go for the win. All right, and then his younger brother Sheldon, is spending next weekend or the weekend of the 13th and 14th of March, trying to regain his win that he did last year in the 12 Hours of Sebring.
Yep.
All right, with Monoplast, that Monoplast Audi.
That's the one with the green lights on it, and
it's
kind of cool the way they put all the LED lights on it, and the car like that green thing.
Reminds me of Devon and all. See a taxi coming round. Hey, what is lights underneath?
Gary, focus.
Yeah.
Focus. So we got the Van der Linde kids off in GT cars and GT racing.
And just by the way, when he's finished at Sebring, he then flies back to Germany.
Yep.
Teams up with brother.
Yep.
Okay. As a partnership team. In other words, they are going to share the car in the various races they do in Europe this year.
I think it's so awesome. Can't wait to
signed deal.
Yeah.
But how lacquered is it? You've got to turn around to the world and say, "Sorry, I'm so busy racing, I can't come and join you."
And hold on, he's defending. There's a whole lot of titles in Australia that he's supposed to defend. But hey, when the chairman say you will go here, you will go there, and you will do it on time. Yeah.
Yeah. Just coming back to Julian van der Walt quickly. Okay. He's actually riding in the US F2000. That's what they call that series.
Okay.
Which is somewhere between.
It's got a Mazda motor in it.
Yeah, somewhere between a Formula 4 2000 and a Formula 3 car.
Yeah.
It's sort of like in between, in and around there.
And they do road courses and ovals.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is that they start them relatively young, and there's a 14-year-old kid in there.
That's right.
And they start them young on ovals, so you can try and get the idea of, apparently ovals have only got 4 corners, so a lot of plunkers think that it's relatively easy to do. But when Fernando Alonso takes a little bit of time to get used to it, Gary, that there's something special about an oval. They're absolutely blooming magnificent.
Well, for those of you that managed to watch the ordinary 500 of Daytona 500, which was
3 weeks ago now.
3 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Long time ago. Ancient history.
They're not open wheelers, but you get an idea that how fast these guys are going, and they're sitting within millimeters of one another.
Oh, I love it.
So much so that if you're that close and the car at the back moves and disturbs the airflow, the guy in the front spins without him touching him.
Yeah. But, it's relatively easy for the numbers that kind of boggle with our brains. We're used to metric, and the whole world should be metric by now, but anyway, Americans aren't. So they say you run at 200, 205 miles an hour. It doesn't sound so fast, but it's 320, 330 kilometers an hour average lap. So kind of cool stuff.
That is cool.
Really, really cool. So this weekend, start of the South African Endurance Series.
No, past weekend. This weekend coming up is a different thing.
Yeah, okay, Gary. I mean,
just sort of
technicality. Oh, it's all about facts, is it?
Well,
it's about accuracy, is it? Right. So this past weekend, I haven't been to Welkom for a long time. The circles are still there, and the gees amongst all the competitors was there. So it was the first round of the South African Endurance Series, and also the first round of the sports and GT, the sprint races, which was really cool.
Which brings Pucker, International GT3 and GT4 cars to South Africa.
Yep.
Of which in the GT3s we have Ferrari 458s.
There's a red one and a yellow one. We'll
Yeah,
talk about
okay.
the difference between them.
And then there's the Aston Martin.
Oh, sounds so cool.
And then there's a Bentley floating around somewhere.
Yeah, but no, hold on. That Bentley, they've been testing at Kyalami, all sorts of secrecy about why and who and where and all that sort of thing. And the interesting thing, talking to a whole lot of people who running these GT3 cars this weekend,
Yeah.
they might cost a little bit of money to buy, but they're designed for customers to run. So there's an instruction manual.
Yeah.
And the instruction manual says these are the parts that you run for so long.
Yes.
And then you change them,
Yeah.
and stuff doesn't break.
That's right.
So they run forever.
Well,
so
if you take the Kessel Ferrari, which there's two of them in South
Yep.
Africa, okay, and you take the Aston Martin, those cars come with a guarantee. Your gearbox, your engine is guaranteed for X amount of hours. When those hours are up,
take it
you
out.
send it out to them, they refurbish everything, and they send it back to you. And they're guaranteed for another X amount of hours.
So in theory, these cars, provided you follow the lifing of each component,
Yeah.
and that lifing goes down to dampers, to control arms, to radiators, motor components, brakes, bells on the brakes.
Bells?
There's bells.
Ding-a-ling?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
The top hats, some may call them. The top hats. That hooks from the drive of the hub. There's like a little hat that holds the actual disc on.
Oh,
with
okay.
the calipers
And that's called a
on.
bell.
Oh, different people got different kind of things. So the cars might be relative expensive is, people talk about expensive racing cars.
Well, look, any racing car is expensive, but when you come down to
Motor racing is not cheap.
No,
Gary.
no, it's not. It's not for the shy boys, you know. But when you come down to it, you're buying a pucker race car. It's
Yep.
been designed and built to race. The components that work on that car are designed to work with that car,
And
therefore
for a
these
long
guys,
time, yeah.
therefore these guys can give these guarantees. So it may be a high investment in the beginning, but your running cost for the year comes right down.
And the other thing, just chatting to some of these
Yeah.
guys, and not only is it the GT3 cars that are coming in, but some of the sports cars. There are two Ligier JS 53
Evos.
Evo.
Yeah.
So the difference between the 53 and there's still a 53 here is that it's now got a carbon fiber tub and the aerodynamics is all upgraded. And when they upgrade aerodynamics, it's upgraded proper, Gary.
Yeah.
There's a splitter in the front, so you've got good downforce
That's right.
in the front. If ever you wondered on like LMP prototypes and the modern sports cars, you see all the veins behind the front wheels. That's the idea with that, is that you get the air underneath the nose of the car.
Yeah.
It goes through the wing, creates a bit of a wing profile, downforce at the front, and then get the air out.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the downforce comes from the floor area of the car. And the bigger the area of the car, the greater the downforce.
Well,
which is why
Yeah.
silver cars, Mercedes,
Yes.
were running a long wheelbase car. Increase the area of the floor,
That's right.
and your downforce is a function of the area, and then out through the
Well, a
diffuser.
typical example, last week we posted some photos or a video of the Janetta testing it at Swartkops in the rain. And this car just had this massive, gigantic plume of water. It looked like a speedboat.
And proper rooster tail. So when you're driving on the
Yeah.
highway and in a normal road car, you sort of the mist or the water spray becomes out the back of the
Yeah.
car. This thing you can actually see down the straight how
How that
it
rooster
goes
tail
up.
is developed, yeah. And it's not developed by the tires because there's a blockage at the end of it. There's a back going all the way down. And that is just showing you how that aerodynamics on that car works.
Get
And
the
yeah.
airspeed up underneath the car,
Yeah.
pressure low, pressure differential pushes
And-
the car down. That Janetta G57
Yes.
was very impressive at.
You know, who impressed me with that car. He went to Budram Paul was Gavin
Cronje.
Cronje. He got that thing to go. Oh, that thing was quicker.
I spent a bit of time in a place that I shouldn't have been.
Yes, you didn't tell me.
Oh, Gary, we got to do what we got to do. But I started walking down the pit exit road.
Yeah.
And I passed a marshal and I carried on and allegedly, and got to just on the apex of turn 1.
Okay, that's
at
also
Pisa.
the exit of the pits.
Yeah.
Just
so
okay.
the pit road was on my right, and there were some tires and a barrier, so I was in a completely safe position. I had my escape route planned, just to get an idea of the speed of the cars and the attitude of the cars
Yeah.
as they hit the apex of turn 1. Cars that impressed me, that Ginetta G57.
Yeah.
The level of speed and just the dynamic, its movement
Into
as
the
it gets
corner.
to
Yeah.
the apex, absolutely awesome. Those 2 Ligiers, and again, those are 3 ground effect cars.
Yeah.
The other one was the Mercedes,
The older car.
old Mercedes, and we'll find out what it is. The commitment level of the guys arriving at the corner, pitching it in, getting the car to settle, and then back on the loud pedal,
Yeah.
and then the 2 Ferraris. Also, just from a hustling point of view, the GT3 cars, they carry a lot of downforce. The nicest sounding cars, and oh man, I've got to say this, but they're the Porsche Cup cars.
Yes.
The 991s, they've got the new exhaust, and they scream, not verbal. That was really, really nice.
They were actually 3 of them. There was 2 of them driven by Team Bigfoot.
Yep.
Which is what's his name, Moodley and Son Moodley, and the other guy's car was
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's struggling
forgetting
with
names,
them.
and you got them in front of you. We can't find
Gary,
them. Okay, don't worry about it.
We've got to put some glasses on and check this out and see if
Yeah.
we can do that. The other car that I rather liked was the Dryzit Lamborghini.
That was Jackie Schechter
Schechter.
and Greg Parton. Yeah.
Hustling a bit. So, we now end up with an endurance race.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had a lot of sharp endurance races. Okay, look, this was the 5th Pekisa 6-hour.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they're getting more and more competitive. And guys they're bringing new tires like you cannot believe to the party. So they're throwing proper equipment at it. Gary, those apparently are the results for the 6-hour.
Yeah.
The 911s, the Porsches, they were in the sprint and
GT.
endurance, or sprint and GT
Yeah.
race. So there's a whole lot of, let me just give you some other thoughts of what I saw. There were some really cool cars.
You want me to think?
No, I was thinking, and I was pondering, and I was observing. And I probably watched, each car had sort of on average 3 and a bit pit stops. And there were there were about 100 pit stops in the 6-hour race. And Gary, I may have seen probably 70 of those pit stops.
Yeah.
Not one of them went off without a glitch.
You're kidding me.
So we're right on the beginning of a learning curve.
That's right. Yeah.
On pit stops. And it's quite interesting where, on the one hand, you're saying to somebody, you need to, the Ligier has sent out a Swiss engineer.
Yeah.
Proper French-speaking Swiss engineer. Really cool guy, and he was getting a little bit frustrated with the level of some of the pit stops.
Yeah.
But you're actually asking a guy who's spent his life carefully building and with meticulous care and love and attention to all the details. He's built his racing car.
Yeah.
Now you're saying to him, dude, I need you to perform at maximum speed. So it goes back to, and we throw back to America,
Yeah.
where in NASCAR they had exactly the same problem until somebody realized that, and I think it was one of the Hendricks cars, that you need to have athletes as pit stop people.
That's right.
So you can have somebody who can change a wheel, and that's all he needs to know. And I think the other thing is, and by the way, we are back outside our studio. They're filming another commercial for Planned Parenthood, and but we'll stick with it because we love them. So within this whole in the pit stop, you're now taking a guy who's built this car with loving care,
Yeah.
and you want him to bang, 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 get the thing wheels changed, fuel in,
Yeah.
and get it out as fast as possible.
That's right.
So it's kind of a bit of a dilemma for them. And as the competition has ramped up,
Yeah.
so different bits of equipment have arrived, and whether the guys are using the battery guns or high pressure air,
That's right.
the level of improvement, I think it's absolutely stunning.
I see. Just quickly, I see Stewie White has joined us. Stewie, nice to have
Thanks,
you.
Stu. Great drive over the weekend. Well done. mate.
Do me a favor. Type in the comments there what your plans are for next year, so we can inform people, or send us a private thing and we'll
No, type it in
in the comments.
we need to tell people.
Yeah.
So, plus just going to Stewie's car, that Renault is designed for sprint races.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have some of the trick refueling rigs
No, it
that,
doesn't.
for instance, the Ginetta had,
Yeah.
and the Ligiers had, which are designed more for endurance. So as I think the season goes forward, you're going to see guys fine-tuning their refueling equipment, number one, to get the fuel in and get the air out of the
Yeah.
tank faster. I think you're going to see different changes in some of the jack technology, and
Yeah.
for those cars that don't have onboard jacks, one of the cars they couldn't really jack the front and the back at the same time, and the rules are relatively simple for pit stops. You can't change wheels and this is in the SA Endurance Series. You
Yeah.
can't change wheels and refuel at the same time.
Yeah.
The refueling has to go through. It's only on a gravity tank, and it must have a dead man switch at the end. So either like a normal petrol Bowser or one of the
So everybody
the
lets
racing
go
nozzles.
stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got to have a guy at the tank on the absolute shut-off lever,
Yeah.
so the safety is really high. And one of another thing that I really like about the SA Endurance Series is that penalties are not. They don't wait until the end to adjudicate it. So if they see a bit of fuel spillage, they bring the car in for a drive-through penalty. So the penalty is immediate, and you can go back to watching the race on the road and get an idea of who's where and doing what to who. So I think that we're going to see some on the jacking side, on the strategy of the pit stop. Who changes the wheels? I think you only allowed a total of 5 people over the wall at any one time. So you've got the fueling, and what most of the guys were doing is get the fueling first, get that out of the way, and then going on to pit stops. And interestingly, I spent some time on the weekend when you've got a center lock nut.
Yes.
Conventional English racing wisdom
Yes.
is that you turn the nut in the direction of forward rotation to tighten
Okay.
it. Except for the
In other words,
Ferraris.
Clockwise.
Well, on the right. And on the left, you turn it anti-clockwise to tighten it. So on the left-hand side, when you're looking at a normal English racing car, as it goes forward, you turn it forward to tighten and backwards to loosen, except on the Ferraris, which are the other way around. And except on one of the Ligiers, which is another way around. And then one of the cars, also with a center lock, has got the same, conventional thread left and right. So it's the growth and the speed. Now, if you waste a minute in the pits, and I just want to go back to the number of laps. So the winner in 6 hours on Saturday did around about 190 laps. So if you throw away 60 seconds, it's kind of, and your maths is better than mine, but it's about 0.3 of a second every single lap.
That's right.
Per pit stop. And they were doing 3 pit stops, and then one of the cars came in and their tires weren't ready because the tire changes had taken their time.
Mechanic sleeping again.
No. There's another story, which I'm not allowed. I've been sworn out. Legal department came to me and said, guys, please don't carry on with this. Anyway, so I think Cape Town's 24th of March, am I right?
Correct.
The next round. And it's not a 6 hour, it's now down to a 4 hour.
Yeah.
And the cars are able to run.
The next four levels are all 4 hours.
4 times 4.
Yeah. So it's Cape Town, PE is London, and I will let you know where the last one is later.
Either Kyalami or Swartwoods.
I will let you know.
Thanks, Gary. At least one of us pays attention to details. So the cars are able to run around about An
hour and a bit.
Hour and a bit. They were planning on 3 stops in a 6-hour race. So that's an hour 15.
Correct.
But they never really got to run an hour 15 because you don't get a full course yellow in the SA Endurance Series. You get a 60 zone. So, and that was another one.
What they call Code 60.
Code 60.
Yeah.
So something goes wrong and they need to rescue a vehicle and they throw a Code 60, which is a 60 kilometer an hour speed sign at each marshal's point, and a yellow flag. And the rule says that you may not go faster than 60, and you need to maintain the distance to the car ahead of you. So the first 2 cars on Saturday was the Ginetta and the Renoir, and they were Code 60, and for some other reason they seemed to be going not 60.
Well, maybe they were doing the
gap stayed the same.
60.
The gap stayed, I think they were doing 60 miles an hour, not 60 kilometers an hour. So the gap between them stayed the same, and then drama as they were both issued a drive-through penalty, which then brought the Ferraris into play. So going back to, and I see that lighting is in our studio.
I think we just apologize to everybody there. I know it's getting a bit dark. We do apologize. The lights haven't come on.
This is the mushroom effect. They keep us in the dark and feed us stuff.
And we can see what sort of picture you're getting, so we do apologize. But we won't be with you much longer, and then we'll let you all go and have a decent dinner.
So, just going back to the pit stops.
Yes.
You're not allowed to pit under a 60.
No, you're not.
And that was one of your penalty and your pit needs to take place under normal racing conditions. So
correct,
it's all fair to everybody.
It's the same as Code 60 in Europe, in everything else, unless the clerk of the course sends out a signal, pit lane is open. Yeah. In fact, anytime Code 60 comes out, anywhere in the world, pit lane is closed, even in NASCAR. Until clerk of the course, whatever, makes the decision, the pit lane is now open. Yeah.
So the other really cool thing about the Endurance Series is if you drive off the road or get stuck or break down, they send out a breakdown truck and bring you back to the pits. You can fix your car and you can go racing again.
Well, we saw that with the one Ferrari. Unfortunately, lost a wheel.
Yes.
Managed to get back to the pits. Managed to put another wheel on and finish 7th overall.
And I'll tell you what, they were turning in some really quick laps towards the end. I'd love to know, and I know that you spoke to the team this week, Gary.
That's right, yes.
There, on the center lock, there's some little tabs that pop up.
Yeah, there's 3 pins.
And they're supposed to stop a wheel nut. It can come loose, but supposed to stop it coming off.
If the wheel nut comes loose, the pins stop the wheel nut coming off.
Yeah.
In theory, keeping a wheel, it'll be loose, but it'll be on the car. In other words, if the driver's got anything and he feels it, he should slow down and slowly make his way back to the pits.
You're saying to a driver, you need to slow down.
I said should.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
anyway, so the guys will go.
What actually happened over there was these 3 lock pins failed,
and the wheel came off and under a 60. And anyway, they brought the car back, and what was nice, Gary, is that it was on the back of a flatbed. Yeah. So we could have a good squiz underneath and have a good look at all the tunnels and the floor, and that was really cool. So that helps keep the racing alive, and from a competitor's point of view, you don't if you go out you get scribbled. You don't get scribbled. You can come back and you can go racing. So all in all, an absolutely enjoyable weekend. Welcome delivered. I think the Endurance Series delivered, and having the Sprint and GT3, GT4 cars on the same day also
delivered
to
really good.
And I cannot wait
for
GT3. More GT3 cars to come. I can't wait to see
Well, there's so many rumors out there. I'm waiting for the first somebody, and I believe this is a rumor. I have not got facts. I haven't put my hand. Somebody's importing a TCR. I would love to know
that as well.
I would love to know who that is.
We know
and I really hope it's an Audi, because then we got a nice spread of cars throughout.
And we know that the Alpha Giulietta, Arnold Chatz's car is
That's
built,
right.
That car is built kind of to
TCR
TCR
spec.
except without the bodywork.
That's right.
But TCR cars are designed to run forever.
Yeah.
They're reliable. They're pretty quick. I believe they're quicker than some other 2-liter turbocharged
Cars that we have
racing,
sitting around.
standard-ish racing
Yeah.
cars. And it really is going to be exciting to see that coming on. So, all in all, a great weekend.
Yes.
And a brilliant start to the future. And I believe that I see that production are saying that we're out of time.
Yes.
So on that note,
it's saying sorry. I know the light's fading. You guys will not see us just now. So, from me, see you guys in the wild side. We will be back next week, Wednesday, with more exciting news. And we'll start looking at off-road racing in South Africa and a couple of other things. So, from me, I'm out here. Take care. Thanks for watching.
so Gary has to go and help our production have had some issues, but that the whole thing, it's a brilliant start to a new year, a year of racing. We're excited. We hope you're excited. Thanks for joining us. Have a great time. Cheers.